Hi there, Simon here, and we're just going to look at the way that a push is laid out in scale. So using scales on the push, and also how the notes are laid out, and if you're a guitarist or a bass player, how the layout is so similar. So let's have a see what you can do with it. So here's the push. Now this, I've got a piano sound. And if I press scale, now this is currently in C major. So the purple or lilac coloured, however you want to call this colour here, this is the root note. So this, in this case, is C. So if I go from left to right, just note what happens. So the distance between this note and this note here is an octave, and you see when I play this, it's repeated 3 times because that is the same note as that. So if you go like this, it's the same as going and. So there is more than one way to go through a scale. So this is one obvious way. So that is the equivalent of playing all the white notes on a piano. Now I find it easier to go because I'm going up the push. But you could also go like this. You could do it in 4s. If you went like this. When I play this note here, this note is the same as that one. So when you go over to a push for the first time, if it's in scale mode, which it is usually by default, you press scale and you can see up here it says in key or chromatic. Now chromatic, if you look at a piano, it's every note, all the white notes, all the black, and the chromatic would mean playing every single one. So if I press chromatic, it'd be like this. So that's 12 notes or 12 semitones. But when you put it into a key, or in the key, or in scale, or whatever you want to call it, you press in key. So now all the gaps between the notes that you don't need to make the key are not there. So you get this. So this works great if you try and play a chord. Now if you play it on a piano, if you go up to a regular piano and you find the middle C, and you want to then play a chord, you could play one, miss one, play one, miss one. That'll work. That'll give you a C major triad. So if I play one, miss one. So if I do that, if I try and do it with one hand, it's quite a stretch. A little bit more than a regular piano. Or quite similar, actually. But if you notice, you get the green lights that all shine up too as well. So as you can see, when I add this note on, it appears above. So rather than go like this, I can go like this. So basically, to play a triad on a push, all you need to do is do a triangle. So it's actually, in this case, C, E, G. But you can go like this. And you can also, if you look over here, you could go in a diagonal from the root. You can go. So that's one way to play a triad, or I could play it like this. So those are 3-note chords or triads. Now, if I play this note, I know that's a C. This one, also a C. So if you have played piano before, and you're used to playing triads, and you play the root note in octaves below, this is what this would sound like. So I'm going to go like this, and then play over the top. So if I do this, it'd be a C. Now this would be an F across to a G. So let me just show you what I did there. I'm basically moving the root note, and then I went up one, or up one row. Now if I go up one row, I know that's an F, and I'll show you why. This is a G, back to F, So this is how it works. If you go from one of the root notes, doesn't matter which one. So this would be C, and that would be D, E, F. So C, D. So you remember before I told you it was there? Now the way that the push is laid out, by default, if you look up here, layout fourths. Now these are the intervals between the notes. Now when I said this at the top of the video, I said it's similar to a bass or a guitar. Now a bass guitar, from the bottom string, the lowest note you can play is an E, unless it's a 5-string bass, of course. And the same with the electric guitar. So if I change these root notes now to play an E, so you can see across there you've got the 12 keys. So there you've got, like in the cycle of fifths, if you know what that is, it goes C, G, D, and this goes up in fifths. And then these are what we call the flat keys. Now, if you know your music theory, then it will help you. But if you don't, just take this for, these are what we call, this is the cycle of fifths. It goes up 5 notes and keeps going all the way along here. So you go up 5 from C, you get G. And then for every one of those, so I'm going to go to E. So now the lowest note now I can play on here is an E. So just to show you, that's E major. If I go back to C, listen to the pitch change. The finger pattern is exactly the same. If I do G, same thing. So theoretically, you can play now every major scale that exists. You can play all of the C, G, D, and so on. And if you wanted to play a B flat major, you play this B flat major. And that's just with one type of scale. Now, most music that I make, that most people make, tends to be in a minor key. It's not that it's moody or downbeat or anything. It's just more exciting. The chords, the contrast between the chords can be more exciting. A matter of opinion, of course. You know, put your comments in there. Tell me I'm wrong. So when I play this now, listen to the tonal difference. This is major. This is minor. So you remember before I talked about triads and chords? If I go like this. If I go back to major, listen to the difference. Go to minor. So subtle differences. And that's just using a piano sound as well. So I hope that gives you an idea about what the scales do and how to change them. I'm just going to show you the chromatic again. And I want you to imagine, if you're a bass player or a guitar player, if you know how to play a minor pentatonic scale, you might use finger 1 and finger 4. So imagine this is my fret hand, like this. If I play it like this, that's like fret 1, fret 4. If you did it in like first position, if you did it in like the first position on the guitar, it would be F minor pentatonic. So that would be like first fret on your E string. And you can also then play the blues scale. But this is every single fret, if you like. So if you wanted to do like an octave, you could go. That kind of thing. But if you want to make it easy for yourself, especially when you're first getting used to it, press in key, and then I'm now playing F minor. So every note I play, you can't play a wrong note. So it's great for getting ideas down really fast. So just to show you what it sounds like if I did it on in a bass guitar, if I take it out of scale, and I'm going to go browse, and rather than use an upright piano, let's go into the guitar and bass pack, which has been around since Live 9, I think. Guitar and bass, sounds, bass, electric bass, open. Now, yeah, let's go with that. So now I've got You know what I'm trying to do. So this is... So there you've got, I'm playing in the key of, let's go back to scale. So I'm in F minor. Let's go to E to give it that authentic E minor. So that's a bass sound. I can play it. And there's also the way that this sound's laid out. If I go back into device here, go to sampler. This is like electric bass sound. Now, if you look at it on live, I've got it on open, but there's another preset. If I go to browse here, you go to electric bass, right? And rather it just be palm, slap, and open, you can do this one. Go to just bass. Now, what this does, if you look back in live, you've got all of them here. You've got dead notes, which are, I think, they're at the bottom here. There, can you hear that? And then if you move further on, you've got palm muted notes, glide, slap, and open notes. So what you can do, if I go here, you got a slide. I move the octave up, so I've got... If I press it really gently, so if I slap it hard, so everything I played was in E minor. You can play chords, more than one note at a time. You can play the bass note. You hit the note hard. So yeah, I hope it gives you an idea of what the scales do and just a general layout and how the notes work together. The bottom line is, if you keep it in key, the finger pattern that you do will be pretty much the same. The only time it changes is when you use scales where there's less than 8 notes. So if you go to like a minor pentatonic scale, for example, if you watch what will happen, the distance will shorten between these because there's only 5 notes in the scale. So if you watch this, minor pentatonic. So you see there now, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to that. So and then if you go to minor blues, you add an extra note in, so it'll all go out 1. There you go. So there's now 6 notes. So you went something like this. Easy, isn't it? Have a go. So hopefully that's a good starter to show you how to play in a certain key or scale using push. Check out some of the other push videos on this channel. Thanks for listening.